With Season of the Lost already in full swing, a lot of players have been asking me, what guns should I be trying to get? I thought it would be cool if I went over a list of the best weapons you need to get your hands on for PvP. Now, not only are these the best weapons, but I will be showing you how to acquire these weapons as quickly as possible and the best rolls you should be aiming to get. Keep in mind that there is no specific order in this list, since this list does contain hand cannons, fusion rifles, pulse rifles, shotguns, and snipers, so a little bit of everything. But with that out of the way, let's get into the list. One of the best and quite possibly the easiest to grind for is going to be the Judgment. This one can be acquired from completing the first encounter in the Prophecy Dungeon. Also guys, once you acquire this weapon in your loot pool, it can be farmed for over and over just by repeating the encounter and finishing it. If you're someone limited on time, not only is this hand cannon easy to get, but it's easy to farm for a god roll. One of the best things about this hand cannon is that you have a high chance of getting a good roll. This hand cannon has a small perk pool, which is going to allow you to get a good combination set of perks. Personally, I would go with the perks Moving Target and Opening Shot. That is a combination perks that I'm going to be grinding for, but again, you can get away with pretty much anything on this hand cannon. The next weapon we have on the list is another one that comes from the final boss in the Prophecy. We have the Energy Aggressive Frame Shotgun, the Sudden Death. This shotgun can be acquired by defeating the final boss in the Prophecy Dungeon, and just like the Judgment hand cannon, once you acquire this weapon, you can continue to farm this weapon over and over. Now, you might be asking, why should I farm this? I already have a Felwinter's Lie, which requires no farming necessary. Well, for starters, Felwinter's Lie is a standard role. Essentially, it is a curated role that is available for everyone. But what makes Sudden Death so unique is that you can essentially build your own role by farming for specific perks. When it comes to selecting barrels for the Sudden Death, I would highly recommend you go with Full Choke, which is going to reduce projectile spread when aiming down sights at the cost of precision damage. And as for magazine options, I would highly suggest you go with accurized rounds. This is going to help you boost that one-hit kill range. Now, getting into the third column, I would go with either Slide Shot, which is going to assist in boosting your one-hit kill range on your shotgun, or the other perk I would go with is Surplus. This is going to assist in boosting your handling speeds. Since this shotgun doesn't come with the perk Quick Draw, Surplus is essentially the next best thing. In the final column, I would highly recommend you aim for the perk Elemental Capacitor. This is a great perk for those of you out there who want to main arc subclasses. By using an arc-based subclass, this is going to boost your handling speed of your shotgun, essentially giving you quick draw on steroids. Guys, when it comes to the Sudden Death shotgun, you want to focus on handling and range. The next weapon on the list is Randy's Throwing Knife. Okay, I'm just playing, but our next weapon is a Scout Rifle, and that's no joke. We have a double combo here. Both of these weapons are in the same archetype, but one is energy and one is kinetic. We have the Servant Leader, which is going to be the new Gambit Scout Rifle, and a Contingency Plan, which is a random world drop. Both are rapid fire frame Scout Rifles, which automatically make them full auto. Now, to make covering these weapons simple, I'm going to suggest one perk that makes them viable in PvP. That perk is going to be Kill Clip. Both of these guns at base require 5 shots to kill any Guardian, which can be accomplished with a TTK of 0.93. But with the perk Kill Clip, this now lowers the critical shots to only 4, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you see it in game, it's pretty crazy on how fast you can melt Guardians. I would say there's about only 2 drawbacks to using these weapons. For starters, with limited maps in Destiny 2 PvP, you might find this gun sitting in your inventory until you play maps like Widow's Court. The second drawback only affects the Servant Leader. Since this weapon has a larger perk pool, getting it to drop with the perk Kill Clip might be a daunting task. But if you're looking to get your hands on a Contingency Plan, this can be acquired by turning in Humble Engrams for a random world drop. The next weapon on the list is going to shock you, because it shocked me. We have a kinetic 600 RPM auto rifle, the Last Breath. This is another weapon that can be acquired through the Prophecy Dungeon. And yes guys, this auto rifle drops in the second encounter. When it comes to auto rifles, there's only 2 archetypes that I would call competitive. That would be the 600 RPM, such as the Gnawing Hunger and the Last Breath, and the 720 RPM, such as the Arctic Haze and the Chroma Rush. Now, when it comes to picking a set of perks for the Last Breath, I would suggest several rules. For barrels, you might want to aim for a barrel that assists with recoil direction, such as Arrowhead Break. When it comes to magazine options, I would highly suggest you go with high caliber rounds, which can help you in your 1v1s since this weapon will be causing additional flinch, or you can go with the perk ricochet rounds, which is going to help you bump that range on your auto rifle. Now, getting into the third column, I can only suggest two perks, either killing wind or dynamic sway reduction. Personally, after using dynamic sway reduction, I can honestly say that it felt much easier to control the auto rifle when holding down the trigger. In the final column, I can only suggest one perk, rangefinder. Since this is an auto rifle, you can really suffer from engagements that are further away. This is why pairing rangefinder and ricochet rounds might be a great option. Moving on, we have the next weapon on the list, which is going to be the kinetic precision frame shotgun, the Fractethyst. This is one that can be acquired by decrypting umbral engrams. Don't get me wrong, even though it looks easy enough to acquire, I have yet to get my god roll with this weapon. Now, for those of you returning to the game, or maybe you didn't play the last 2 seasons, this is one shotgun that I highly recommend you farm for. When it comes to farming for specific rolls, for the barrel, I would go with full choke for that tighter pellet spread, paired alongside accurized rounds for that bump to range, and since this is a shotgun, I would go with the perk quick draw. This is going to assist in that draw out speed, allowing you to pull this weapon from your holster much quicker. Lastly, I would go with the perk opening shot. This is going to allow you to get another additional bump to range. I always talk about having a good combination set of weapons, and having the sudden death in your energy slot and the Fractethyst in your kinetic slot, you can't go wrong. The next weapon on the list is going to be a reissue, but it was given a new set of perks, and that weapon is going to be the Annual Skate. This is another gun I would classify as a sleeper weapon. This is yet another random world drop, and you can acquire this weapon by decrypting umbral engrams at the helm. Now, when it comes to sights, I would personally go with fast draw HCS, since this helps with handling speed and stability, but it's ultimately falling back to the user, whatever you feel comfortable with. As for the next column over, I would go with accurized rounds, giving it a small bump to range. Now for the next set of perks in the third column, you can't go wrong with any of the options, but I would either choose tunnel vision for that bump to aim assist and ADS speed, or no distractions, which can help you negate some of the flinch during engagements. Now in the final column, it does come with a unique perk that I highly recommend you go for, and that is going to be the perk time payload. Look, if you've never gone up against a weapon with time payload, it's as simple as this. Have you ever been flinched out of existence? It was probably against a gun with a perk time payload or explosive payload. If you ever wanted to get the advantage in 1v1s or to challenge any sniper, time payload or explosive payload are perks I highly recommend. The next weapon on the list has been featured in several of my prior list recommendations, and for good reason. It is by far one of the most deadliest weapons of the season. We have the energy rapid fire frame pulse rifle, the Darkest Before. This is yet another farmable weapon from the Prophecy dungeon. This one can be acquired by defeating the final boss in the dungeon, and once you unlock this weapon, you can farm for it. Since this is a 540 RPM pulse rifle, I suggest you aim for a barrel that assists in vertical recoil and stability. This can be done with the barrel option Arrowhead Break. As for magazine option, I would either suggest high caliber rounds to help provide that additional flinch to your enemy, or ricochet rounds to help boost that max range of this weapon. As for perks in the third column, I would go with Overflow, which is going to bring this weapon's magazine up to 72 rounds, which if you're accurate, this can secure you 2 to 3 kills with just one magazine. In the final column, this is a no-brainer. You're going to want to go with the perk Full Auto. Since this is a rapid fire frame pulse rifle, it is extremely difficult to fire this weapon at optimal speed. But with the perk Full Auto, this is going to allow you to keep your finger on the trigger and mow down guardians left and right. Moving into the next weapon we have on the list, I did a full review of this weapon earlier in the season, so I'll cover it briefly. The next weapon is a high impact sniper, the Long Walk. This is yet another Prophecy weapon that can be farmed from the first encounter. Alright, look, someone has to say it. Guys, Bungie nailed it. Bungie nailed it by bringing back all of these Prophecy weapons, and I've never seen myself do so much PvE, but for these weapons, it is 100% worth it to grind all the Prophecy weapons. Now, the Long Walk is a high impact sniper, and like most high impact snipers, it suffers in 2 categories. The first category where it suffers is poor handling and stability, and the second is going to be a smaller magazine. So when it comes to picking perks, you want to choose a barrel that boosts handling, which one of the best options you can go with is Fluted Barrel, which is going to boost the handling speed. Now, to boost the magazine from 3 to 4, a good option is going to be appended magazine. Now, in the third column, you can essentially get away with any perk. It's not going to make or break this weapon. But in the final column, I highly recommend you go with the perk Snapshot. If you want this weapon to feel snappy and have that sluggish feeling negated a bit, then Snapshot is a must-have. This is one sniper that in the beginning I kind of hated, but after using it for several games, I can't take it off. It was like giving me freebie headshots. Now, I only wanted to feature weapons from this season, but the remaining 2 weapons are from a prior season and I feel like they should be on your radar. The first weapon we're going to be getting into is the Loud Lullaby. This is a kinetic, high-impact hand cannon that can be acquired by completing the quest, Essence of Brutality. By picking up this quest and completing it, you will receive 1 randomly rolled Loud Lullaby. Keep in mind that you can farm this weapon to your heart's desire. Now, in the most recent nerfs to high-impact hand cannons, Bungie changed them to where you can no longer 2 critical kill any Guardian, except with the perk Kill Clip. Which, if you haven't already guessed it, this is a perk that can be acquired on the Loud Lullaby. This perk is only available on the final column of this weapon. Currently, I have the version with Moving Target and Kill Clip. If I had to change anything about this role, I would change Moving Target to Heating Up, which would activate at the same time as Kill Clip. But by having Kill Clip on this weapon, you essentially now took this weapon from a 3-shot kill to a 2-shot kill, which in PvP, that's insane. The final weapon we have on the list is yet another random world drop. That weapon is none other than the Cartesian Coordinate. This is a rapid fire fusion rifle. Now, the good thing about this fusion rifle is that its perk pool isn't large, so trying to get yourself a god roll is highly likely. Since this is a fusion rifle, 2 things matter the most on it: range and stability. When it comes to stability, the higher stability on a fusion rifle, the closer your bolt spread is, which in fusion rifle terms means you can one-hit kill your target more consistently. Next is range, being able to one-hit kill your target much further away. This is where you might want to aim for the sight Red Dot 2 MOA or Red Dot Micro, both of which are going to extend the range of this weapon without negatively affecting your stability. Now, since this is a rapid fire frame fusion rifle, your damage is much less compared to the other archetypes. This is where you want to go with the battery liquid coils. This is going to increase your impact of each bolt from this weapon, making it easier to one-hit kill your enemy. Now, in the third column, the best perk you want to go for is Under Pressure, which is going to improve your stability and accuracy when the magazine gets lower. Now, when it comes to PvP, this perk is automatically active since you spawn in with only 2 rounds, which is a plus for me. In the final column, this is another no-brainer. You're going to want to go with the perk High Impact Reserves, in which rounds at the end of the magazine deal more damage. Again, since in PvP you start with 2 rounds off of spawn, this is yet another perk that is automatically active, making your fusion rifle much more consistent. Overall, this season has been great, and I really feel like Bungie hit a home run with these weapons. And as the season continues, I would suggest you make some room in your vault and start putting some of these weapons in your vault for safekeeping. But if you enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more videos like this, then all you have to do is click that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you'd like to see more Destiny 2 content, then click that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on all notifications. I appreciate everyone stopping by and hanging out, and like always, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.